Hi, my name is McDonald. I am a high school math teacher in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is my video for the Desmos Fellows Cohort 2023 application. So I'm a problem solver. I love trying to answer people's questions and hopefully help solve problems. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how I solve some problems that some teachers had asked me about. So this first one is, how can I add math text to the top of a Desmos activity? So if I go to a Desmos activity, just a blank screen right here, at the very top, we can type in a prompt for it, just text. But if you tried to type in math, for example, like f of x equals, let's just do 10 to the power of x. And if I hit preview, notice it just looks like 10 to the power of x with a little caret symbol. If you see underneath it, I have a subtitle that actually has the math text here. So in order to type in and have it display as math text, I'm actually not going to type it into the title. I'm going to use a subtitle. Well, you may be looking at your screen and wondering, like, where even is a subtitle? So it's actually under the computation layer. It's part of that script. So when I click on that icon, all I would do is just type in subtitle, colon. In parentheses is what's going to be included in the subtitle. So if you just have text, that's fine. But if you want to actually include math text, that's really the cool part here. So in LaTeX or LaTeX format, I have the equation that I'm trying to type in, and I have the little tick marks around it. So those tick marks are the button right next to number 1 on your keyboard, or the one with the tilde button. But those tick marks, you have to enclose those in the LaTeX. And then when you preview here, let me take off that top equation. Now when we preview, that subtitle actually looks like the title here. And now we have math text at the top. So that addressed that first question from a teacher. Let's look at the next one. What is Polypad and how can I use it? So Polypad is a feature made by Mathagon that you can now actually embed into Desmos activities. So let's look at a couple of examples first. So right here we have the Polypad embedded into a Desmos activity. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So if you were already using Polypad, you can now incorporate it to Desmos activities. If you've never used Polypad before, it's a great chance, and you've used Desmos a lot, it's a great chance to maybe try to incorporate it. So we have like the unfolding the shapes. I already have some shapes here on the screen. We could try to unfold those. There's another example using algebra tiles where students could drag the tiles onto the screen. And then another example of kind of simplifying these where I could drag them apart to show some of those prime factors. So you might be wondering, well, how do we even create one of these screens? So from just a blank Desmos activity screen, let me move my face over. Over here on the bottom, we see some full screen options. So you may have used graphing calculators or marble slides or card sorts. If you've used Desmos activities before, you may have used those components. But a new one right here is Polypad. So if you just click the icon, that just gives you this blank Polypad. So now you can create whatever you really want within the Polypad. So maybe that's polygons and shapes that you want students to interact with. So this is going to be like an interactive whiteboard that they can engage with, and they have all these different options. Just depends on what you're looking for. There are some fraction bars, or we can come down here to algebra and maybe use algebra tiles or a balance scale. There's a ton of different features in Polypad that you should definitely check out. And now you can embed them in Desmos. So it's best of both worlds. The last question, how can I make a card sort with feedback? So this teacher really liked using card sorts. And what they were doing is they were just displaying their dashboard, and students could see either their name or their anonymized name and see if they got it right. And that is a great way. If you would like students to have feedback on their card sort, that's a great way. But when we went to virtual learning and it's harder for students to see that feedback, or maybe they weren't doing it live in class, maybe it was something for homework, the teacher was still wanting to give them feedback. So to do this, you are going to have to use some script, some computational layer script. So let me show an example. So you may have a card sort. This is actually one, I've changed the names, but it's actually one that I used in a class where I collected, like the first day I collected a survey, and students could add a fun fact. And then the next day created this Desmos activity, and they got to know each other based grouping their fun fact in their name. Or it could be something like this, more content related. Like with geometry, we do parallel, perpendicular classifications with lines. So it could be a card sort where you're putting them in 3 different groups, parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So a lot of different ways you can use card sorts. But if you want students to have that immediate feedback, then you're going to need some computation layer. So one way I get the computation layer is actually from an activity that I actually helped collaborate with by McDonald. Now, she did not create all of these slides. She compiled them. I know that because she is my mother. So I helped her compile some of these. And a lot of these were shared by awesome educators through the Desmos Facebook group and Twitter. So this is always a card sort I can come back to and just quickly copy and paste it into an activity. I think that's such a great feature of Desmos, of how customizable and easy it is to create awesome activities without having to start from scratch. So here, this is just a sample card sort. And then here is a screen that has some CL embedded in it. So if you are a new teacher, or if you are new to Desmos or new to computation layer, maybe you feel like coding freaks you out, then this is going to be a great way you can just copy and paste and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to use this first screen. I know you probably see there's a bunch of screens on here. It's just different ways to provide feedback. So it could be maybe where you want the screen to say they have half of it right, or if you want to be more detailed and say you have 10 out of the 15 cards correct. So they're just saying different things. I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to do this for this 4th block class here. I'm going to just paste. So I did Control V to paste. So here's the thing. I need these 2 screens to talk to each other. So right up here, initially, there is nothing there. I want to name this card sort. So I'm just going to call this sort 7. Okay. So then I'm going to come over to the screen that has the computation layer. If you'd like to see it, you can open this up. There's some notes here, but really it's just this chunk of code. That one chunk of code does everything you need. But what you need to make sure is that that it's linked to the sort that was before it. So right here, we want to make sure this changes to sort 7. Same thing right here. It's just whatever you name it. It could be any name. Okay, they're both changed. Awesome. So now when students start grouping cards together here, they can come to this screen and it will tell them that they have whatever number of cards sorted correctly. Or as another example, let me delete that as an example right here. Here we have this parallel, perpendicular, neither. I'll do the same thing where I will paste that computation layer. I'm going to name this. So this computation layer slide, I'm going to come open it and rename it to the sort that I want it to match with. Okay, so as I preview here, if I group 2 of these that are parallel, I'll just do group like these 2. Now if I come over, see how it's saying instead of 0 cards sorted correctly, it tells me 2 cards sorted correctly. So, and then I would just keep sorting and I can get my feedback. So those are some of the 3 kind of questions that I have received recently from teachers that I thought was helpful. I think Desmos activities are amazing. I love using them in my classroom, and I also love helping teachers utilize them in their classroom. Thank you.